All right. What is up, everyone? Thank you so much for listening to the Courtside Central live show. If you're in the chat, thanks so much for hanging out on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube as well later on, we appreciate it. This is our 10th episode, so number 10 in the double digits. Pretty excited. I was telling the guys, it feels to me like we've done more episodes, but I guess we haven't. So I guess 10 weeks is a long time. It's just I feel like I don't know. That's just how I feel. But excited to be in the double digits. We got the big three in the house tonight. So we got the cleaner, the KN Tran. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? What's up?
I like you can see his lovely new background. That if you don't know he was the cleaner, now you do. Bam, right there.
Right? Should I change the name under you now, or should I just leave it?
Let's leave it.
I mean, you could always put what was that called? The chairman of the boards. Yeah.
I like that one. I like that one. It looks like he's rocking some OKC as well. OKC hat.
Yeah.
What about the shirt? What's your shirt?
Oh, my shirt says outwork everyone. Outwork
Ooh,
There you go.
everyone.
I like that. Okay, I dig it. I dig it. So we got the hard worker over here, getting those rebounds, cleaning up, some
yeah.
putbacks and whatnot. And then next we have, what do you do, Stone?
Well, I mean, I got the jersey, so the goat, obviously.
Oh, wow.
you set it up. I answered. It is what it is. Yeah, jersey finally came in. It came in. Was it Saturday? Oh no, it came in on Friday, and I was like,
Okay.
I won't wear it
Oh,
until
no.
Monday.
So this is the first time you're
It's
rocking
the
the
first
jersey.
time. The first time I've worn it. So
All right.
That's good.
yeah, I figured I'd save it for this. It really sucks that Jerome isn't on anymore.
That's true. I was trying to get him back on, y'all.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, I was trying to get Jerome back on tonight, but
for one night, but oh
yeah,
well.
I understand. I understand. We got Justine in the chat. What's up, Justine? How's it going?
What's going on,
for
Justine?
hanging out. So guys, I see Stone is rocking Oklahoma hat as well. So
I have to.
it's I'm kind of like hidden here, and I didn't really plan this, but
Oh wow. Okay. Look at you.
got
Look
the
at you.
Oklahoma City. I didn't buy this. This was a gift when I was in Oklahoma. Can't believe a friend of mine bought me Thunder merch, but it is what it is.
It's the
And
thought
then
that
this
counts,
is
Robles.
actually this is also a Thunder hat as well.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I got you.
Well, I mean,
It's all thunder.
yeah. Don't think this means I'm going to be wearing Spurs stuff because that's probably not going to happen.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll make a bet one of these days. We'll get you wearing one.
I'm in.
We'll get you wearing one. But yeah, I didn't really plan this. These are probably, I think these are the only two Thunder things I have. So I'm wearing them both in one day. So
I mean, it
there
works.
you go.
I
I do like the Thunder. Like,
I appreciate it.
I do like them. I will hate on them, especially like for their hardcore fan base. I will hate them. But when I'm watching games and they're playing, it's like I'll root for the Thunder, except for the Spurs.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
naturally.
Justine said it's going good using her new laptop. Nice. Congrats on the new laptop. I
Hey.
was saying earlier I need a new
Upgrades.
laptop because mine is slow, super slow.
And I was gonna say, yeah, new laptops. I think we all need one.
Yeah. It's a Mac, but man, I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember. It was a long time ago. It's on its last leg. So but yeah, so everyone, thanks for hanging out again. We're gonna be talking basketball this evening. And boy, do we have a jam-packed episode. So the trade deadline happened last week. I think it was the 25th. And was that Thursday? I think it was Thursday.
Yes.
And stuff has even been happening after the trade deadline. I know Nam was mentioning that it's like it's still going on. We feel like so. Teams are trying to get those. They're trying to get their roster set going into the playoffs, and it's like setting it to high gear. So they're making moves. Some are making the right moves, and some we'll talk about it. So I did want to mention this, just one weekly update thing here, and then we'll just go right into the trades because, like I said, a lot happened, and so we want to try to get some feedback on all of them from the guys here, and from myself because some of these I really do want to talk about. I got some opinions here, so the one weekly update. I'm a Spurs fan, even though I'm wearing Thunder gear this evening. But Greg Popovich becomes the third head coach in NBA history to win 1,300 games. And so Lenny Wilkins and Don Nelson are ahead of him. And Don Nelson he's number one. He has 1,335. And so Popovich is close. I mean, he's not going to get it this year. Like, if he goes in, and that's the thing. I don't know if he's going to go another year. I don't know why he would. Maybe if he just likes it, but we'll see. We'll see. But I think if he goes another year, it's possible he can get that next year. So, kudos to Pop, one of the best head coaches, I think. I don't know how y'all feel about him, but yeah, I love him.
Yeah, that's hard to argue against. That that he's not one of the, if not one of the greatest head coaches of all time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a-
most
had-
definitely one of the biggest head coaches.
Yeah, he definitely
Yeah.
has one of the better arguments, for sure.
I think so. But
I was gonna say if he gets up there, I think he's probably the only coach with a winning record that has the most wins.
oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because I know Lenny Wilkins doesn't have a winning record. It has a lot of wins, just not a winning record.
That's true. So now I kind of want him to go for it because then he'll have those. But once he gets there, he needs to retire because the Spurs are kind of. I don't want the.
You don't
Go
want-
out
you
while
don't
you're
want him
ahead.
to
That's I
develop
hear you.
the
I hear what you're saying.
Let him develop the team, man.
No, I actually think Popovich, it's just like in his blood. He just loves coaching. He loves helping the younger guys, but I totally understand if he just wants to focus on the USA basketball team and that's it. I mean, he still gets to coach some of the best players in the league doing that. So either whatever he wants to do, kudos. And I know he's one of the guys who, or he says at least, that he doesn't care about numbers or stats or anything. So I don't know. We'll see. Justine Squeeze Penguin. It still doesn't have a squeaker, but here's the penguin. There you go. If you're watching on Twitch, he doesn't have a name. I just call him Mr. Penguin. So, all right. So we're gonna get right on into it here. So I sent the guys a list. Y'all probably been keeping up with most of it. What's been happening? There's been a lot, so that's why I was like, let me just give you this list so you can kind of see if you missed something and or you didn't know about a trade, then you can see it there. The first one we're gonna talk about. We are going to go down the list from that one I sent you, Stone, but something kind of messed up. This first one messed up here, so it's at the top because I was lazy. And I wasn't lazy. I had a lot going on today. So, but
you may have just outed yourself immediately, and now you're
listen.
trying to.
So this first trade, it's a three-way trade. So this trade happened between the 76ers, the New York Knicks, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So what we're just gonna, right off the bat, we're gonna be talking about some Thunder here. I know Nam and Stone, I imagine they have some thoughts on what's going on with the Thunder here. So this is a three-way trade. So we'll talk about who got who. So the 76ers are getting George Hill, ex-Spur. I love George Hill. They're also getting Ignas Brack. I cannot say this last name. So yeah. So George Hill's coming from the Thunder. He's been averaging pretty good. His percentages I saw are actually really good this season, and he's kind of just been a consistent player throughout his whole career. I feel like he's got moved around a lot, but I feel like he's always a great piece. But yeah, so the 76ers get him, and then Ignas Brazdeikis. I don't know how to say that. He's coming over from the Knicks. The Knicks are getting Terrence Ferguson, Vincent Poirier, rights to Amir. I can't say this last name either. Also, I looked up this Amir person. I couldn't find anything on it. So if y'all know anything about this player, let me know. I couldn't find anything. Um, and the Knicks are also getting a 2021 second round pick and a 2024 second round pick. Um, that's a protected pick. And now the Thunder in this trade are getting Austin Rivers, which we'll talk about what's going on with Austin, and Tony Bradley, and 2 picks from the 76ers, 2 second round picks, one in 2025 and one in 2026. Let's Nom, let's take it to you first. Unless you want to wait, unless you want Stone to go.
No, it's fine. We'll go. I'll go ahead and drop some other things too while we're at it.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, as of today, Austin Rivers is no longer a Thunder. They dropped him. They released him, and his contract is 1.1 million right now. So if he clears waivers, which he will, Thunder basically did this trade to get the 2 draft picks. So 1.1 million dollars for the 2025 and 2026 second round draft pick is actually a good thing. The other thing about it is the Knicks have also released Terrence Ferguson and Vincent Poirier. So they only got draft picks too as well. So the biggest thing in this trade is basically George Hill going to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
For the Thunder, I mean, I'm 1.1 million for 2 draft picks. I'm fine. I mean, we're loaded with draft picks, and it's at least we can say that there is a direction that the Thunder are going. Because I mean, if you leave you can shake your head, Stone, but I want you to tell me what the hell the Magic was doing at all during this trade deadline. Like eventually, when you get a chance, because I have no clue. The Magic took whatever trade they could. They basically look like a team. They like in my league when I try to get underneath the cap and just let go a bunch of people. But anyways, the biggest highlight of this is basically the 76ers getting George Hill, which good for kudos to them because I think George Hill is a good player, and I'm happy that he's going to a team that'll be able to contend because he for the most part, like you said, Robles is very consistent and will do well in that rotation up there with Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Not like it's going to put them obviously over the top, but I mean it will definitely give them depth in the bench.
And I think that's what it is. Like they're bringing in that bench player, that role player. So where if Ben Simmons has to get some rest, or they still need some scoring, or just somebody to run an offense, George Hill is your guy. Now I think this season he's averaging almost 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. It's his, like I mentioned earlier, it's his shooting percentage. He's been shooting 50% from the field, over 50% from the field, about 39% from 3-point line, and then he's just a good free throw shooter as well. Also his defense. That's when I think of George Hill, it's his defense as well. Like his something about like his wingspan. He's not like the tallest player, but his wingspan, like he has the arms, and he just knows, because I think I saw a stat earlier where he's among like some of the active players right now. He has like some of the most steals. He's like top 9, has top 9 steals, and between players who have played a certain amount of games. So I forgot the stat, but it's when I think of George Hill, that's what sticks out to me is defense and his consistency. And man, when we let go of him back years ago, I hated it because I've always liked George Hill. So now, like with the Thunder, well, I'll let you have it here, Stone. I did want to throw a stat out here for the Thunder. Or is it here? So the Thunder now have 34 picks over the next 7 years. I saw that stat today and was like, holy moly, like that's crazy. I don't, I guess they're just, they're using these as either trade assets, or they're just, I mean they are in the rebuild process. I know that for sure, but I feel like a lot of these they're just using for throw in a trade somewhere. It's like, yeah, we got a bunch of these laying back here. Here, you have one. You take one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they also picked up like I think they got like another trade exception out of this, so they picked up like six or seven trade exceptions for the next few years too
few
as well.
years.
So
Yeah, that's nuts. They did also sign today the Thunder Moses Brown. So I guess Moses Brown,
Mhm.
I think he's been in their G League, and I think he's played a few games like on and off with the Thunder. But yeah, he looks like a good piece, I guess, to add in there. So I don't know if
yeah,
you know
he's
much about him.
yeah, he's our center. He had a team record tying like 21 rebounds, I think, the other day.
Okay.
Um, we got a great young core, and I'm not gonna sit here and bore you guys with all the Thunder with all the Thunder talk. But I mean, we got Darius Baisley, who's hurt right now, Isaiah Roby, Lou Dort, and I mean, making up cap space, but also getting the trade assets because eventually we got to pay SGA whenever his contract comes up,
Yeah.
and we got to get him paid, and we got to get some of the other players paid that who do like Lou Dort, who has been balling for us. When their contract gets to the point where it's got to go, we got to pay them. So
Yeah.
it's a good point to make the space now, and I mean blow it all up now.
All right, Stone. So Thunder fan, what do you got to say about all this?
Yeah, like in as far as this in particular, I agree with Nam in a sense that it was 100% about the picks. There was I don't think there was really any intention on actually getting anything outside of picks there. Sam Presti has done a decent job when during around draft time and stuff like that. And part of me feels like this. I mean, not all of these picks are going to be just to get somebody, but rather maybe to move up or try and move around in the draft somewhere. My biggest thing is I think we've all discussed that like OKC is such a small market that trying to get bigger players here, it's not an easy task. So now I'm just kind of like, okay, well, if we're just going to use these picks to potentially draft and not try to make trades for big names, then I can't speculate on what happens in the future, but I really question what the plan is, because who do you plan on drafting? Obviously these are drafts way down the line, so we don't know who can come out of them. But what's the plan? Is the plan to draft around guys you currently have? Is the plan to draft some one or two guys and then build around? Like what's the goal here? What's the point in just collecting picks after picks after picks? Because if you're collecting all these picks, saving them to draft some guys, and then you draft them, and then 2 or 3 years later you're trading them away, then what was the point? Like, that's sort of my thing. Is like, I get it. Presti, he does a good job a lot of the times when it comes to the draft. He typically finds some pretty decent guys, but what good does it do to hold on to a couple of guys for 2 or 3 years to trade them away if you held on to the pick for 4 years? Like, what are we doing? Like, we all knew what this was coming, right? When I say we all, it'd be NBA fans and Oklahoma City Thunder fans. Like, we knew the rebuilding process was coming. But recently it just seems like let's get some guys in, let's see how they do. Some guys will stick around, other guys get traded and moved on. But I don't necessarily think it's always just about like a big an all-star player. But after a while, you're just kind of like, okay, who are we trying to be? Like, what is this team identity anymore? Because you're not building around a guy or two guys, So I don't know if it's just they're doing this because they're trying to find those one or two guys, or at this point it's just, well, let's shop around, let's utilize these picks and see what we can get for them later. I don't know. There's a lot of unknown to it, and I think that's what bugs me. It's just like, I don't know what the plan is. Like, give us, and I mean, come on. It's since day one that whole organization has been real hush hush as far as like what they tell the media and stuff. They don't give away a lot. And so I just feel like we're just sitting here just kind of like, well, I guess we're just going to wait and see what happens like we've done every single year. So I don't know, man. It's when I hear that what we do at the trade deadline is just trade for picks, I'm just kind of like, great. What are
Is
we
that it?
What are
Is
we
that
doing
it?
with them? Like,
So
we-
who is Nam holding up over here? Because the green screen.
Yeah,
or
the green screen's kind of.
what?
I know,
Yeah,
I know. It was kind of making me sad. SGA, baby.
SGA.
That's
So
who
I
we
think
put- that's who we
I think
put
that's what
on.
Nam's kind of thinking. Like when he mentioned like they are going to have to eventually pay some of these guys if they want to keep like
Right.
SGA. And I think that's the hope is like that these guys are going to develop and get better. And once if they do show like they have all-star potential, maybe they can get someone else in um that can help them contend. But I'm also that is a lot of unknowns because it's like, is that going to happen? And if it like, how long is that going to take for it to happen? Because like you said, Oklahoma's not it's not the spot everyone wants to go to necessarily.
Right.
So
It's a hard
Yeah.
sell. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, it's
yeah.
hard to set. Like when you have L.A. and Miami and Austin and all that, like all New York and all, like it's hard to sell Oklahoma when you have all of those. You know what I mean? Like it's
small market.
Yeah.
It's not just Oklahoma. It's
no
a lot of small
right,
market
but I'm
teams.
just in this right, but I'm just saying like in this particular instance, it's like it's really hard to sell to somebody Oklahoma
Yeah.
City versus, especially if they're getting offers from any of those like other areas.
Yeah, for sure. So Nam, what do you have to say to his questions there?
No, I would say we'll do what San Antonio is doing, and it's kind of what you're actually seeing in the draft as it is. Is that we're drafting talent that's not necessarily domestic.
Mm-hmm.
I would say we draft a lot more. We're going to end up drafting a lot more foreign talent, and sometimes those talents won't be here for a couple of years just because of how their contract situation sets up over there.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at our draft picks from last year, Theo Maledon, who's French, is compared to Tony Parker, a young, undeveloped Tony Parker, and Paku, who I think is going to be a good forward going down the line. I mean, that's what we're gonna have to do is draft foreign players, draft players that are kind of diamonds in the rough, people that we can look at. Next, also like you mentioned before, Stone, is like if there is a person that is worth moving up the draft for, that you feel is worth moving up the draft for based on their scouts, they're gonna do it. And we've turned out quite a bit as far as players, and you have to think about the players that we trade have gotten a lot of value too as well. Like Alpha Nader, we traded to Phoenix. We got draft picks for him. Like Terrence Ferguson, who we picked up, we developed, made into a starter, traded him off as a defensive player, and got something out of him. So the biggest thing for us is we just got to trust in our development of players, and next trust in our draft, our ability to draft, which Sam Presti has a pretty good track record of, and the G League too, our G League player team too as well, developing our players in the G League. So I think for us, and just like San Antonio too, San Antonio has a great record when it comes to that. It's just trusting
Yeah.
that process and allowing them to become players, because you have to give players time to develop, man. Some players develop faster than the others, and you hope to get like a LaMelo Ball one day, but I mean you're not always going to.
Yeah. Now those are all like very good points. I forgot Terrence because that Terrence Ferguson was in this trade too. He used to play for the Thunder, and then now he's going to the Knicks there. All right, well let's move on to the next trade here. So this one's going to be between the Orlando Magic and the Denver Nuggets. So this is the Magic getting Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a future first-round pick, or future first-round picks. I'm not sure how many there. And then the Nuggets are getting Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark. So you're going to see a trend here tonight. I know Nam mentioned it with the Magic because the Magic they have fully committed to the rebuild. And so The Magic did a lot this trade deadline, so this is just one of them. One of their all stars. Was Aaron Gordon an all star? He's a.
He was before. No, I don't actually think he has
I don't
been.
think he
No.
was, right. I know he's like a big name because like the dunk contest, like
Hmm.
that's how he got his name and should have won that dunk contest, but that's neither here nor there. But so this trade right here, Magic getting Gary Harris, RJ Hampton. I think the Nuggets definitely. I think whoever the Magic traded with, they're just in rebuild, so they're just kind of clearing cap space, getting some picks. So I guess the main thing here is like how y'all think Aaron Gordon is gonna work with the Nuggets, because now I feel like Aaron Gordon, he was having to do a lot down with the Magic. Him and Vucevic, like those were the guys, and they were having to try. I felt like they weren't like terrible, but they weren't great. They were just like in that middle ground, mediocre, trying to stay afloat. Might make the playoffs, might not. And so now, Aaron Gordon, he's gonna be in. They're gonna be a playoff contender here, like championship contenders. The Nuggets are really good. They got Jokic having an MVP season, and Jamal Murray. I feel like Aaron Gordon's not going to have to do as much, and he's a physical, athletic dude. And if he like cuts to the rim, Jokic is going to find him, and he's going to have some of the easiest dunks and layups he's had in a long time. So those are just like my initial thoughts. What about you, Stone? Anyone here jump out, or Aaron Gordon, or what do you think about this trade?
I think that was more or less mine. Was like, okay, so what does Aaron Gordon do for the Nuggets? I mean, it's like you said, not all star, but I mean, look at what the Nuggets were able to do last year. I don't know if Aaron Gordon is the piece to elevate them further than that, but I mean, it doesn't hurt him. So I think for me, I think that when you sent this list, that was kind of the big one for me. Was just like, what does Aaron Gordon do for the Denver Nuggets as far as like a deep run? I don't know if it's like, again, like I said, I don't know if it's like a super huge put, but it doesn't hurt him. I don't think it hurts him. I don't think it brings him. It's like a step back or anything like that. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. What about you, Nam?
I love this trade for the Nuggets. I really do. I agree. So he's not an all-star, but has all-star talent. He is somebody like for all the Orlando Magic fans out there, I am so sorry. I have no idea what you guys are doing over there. Like,
I think they just didn't
you,
as a fan, it sucks. But I feel like the Magic have needed to do this for a few years. Like just but that's hard. But anyways, continue.
yeah,
Sorry.
is it that they needed to do this, or is it that they needed to do something to make that team better? Because you
I don't think
had
that was gonna happen without doing this.
that could be true too. I mean, but you had Vucevic and you had Gordon, two pieces you could build. Nice. Also, you picked up Cole Anthony in the draft, and you picked up and you have a Marquez Fultz, who's
Mhm.
actually turned into a pretty sizable point guard, which everyone has kind of put the bust tag on him. But you got to give players time and a chance to kind of develop and get out of that pressure.
Yeah.
I like this for the Nuggets because for one, they're replacing Jeremy Grant, who's been balling in Detroit.
Hmm.
But they are going to replace Jeremy Grant, and this is kind of a reset for Aaron Gordon because I think much like we've talked about before, Aaron Gordon's one of those guys to me that was kind of like Blake Griffin, was really frustrating to kind of watch because you want to see more from the dude, but you didn't
Yeah.
really get it. And like you said, exactly what I'm thinking is that you don't have the pressure anymore compared to what you did before. Like you're going to a team that already has two established players, and the biggest thing that they're asking for is defense
Hmm.
in Denver. And Aaron Gordon has already said that he's committed to being a better defender, a more physical presence down low, because I think they're ranked number 28 in allowing or 28 on defense. Like 5 feet from the goal, they allow like it's almost a easy bucket for any other team.
Hmm.
But Denver needed somebody to play that to play that front piece. And next, moving Porter Jr. to the bench probably, and having him come off the bench and continue developing, which would be a good spark for them off the bench as well. Much like what Stone said, though, I don't know if this necessarily puts them over, but it definitely puts them in the conversation. Um, and I think if you get that all-star Aaron Gordon that we expect out of him, that showed up in Uncle Drew, um, this will be a good team to watch. I think he fits with the Nuggets more than some of the trades that we're going to talk later on.
No, I kind of agree with you there. Yo, Shadow Dragon in the chat. What's up? What's up, Lauren? How's it going? Um,
Hey, Lauren.
Everyone say hi to Lauren. She was on our episode last week. If you didn't watch, check it out. Definitely check it out. So you had mentioned the defensive end, and I think I agree with you. Like this is if he's I didn't know he was gonna say like he's committed to the defensive end. That makes me feel good about it, about the trade as well, because like I said, he's not gonna have to do as much as he was doing offensively. So he can really focus on the defensive end. And Aaron Gordon, he's only 25 years old and he's an athletic monster. Like he's a beast. And so I feel like he's gonna take that challenge of guarding the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, even LeBron if he has to. Like he has the capability to stay in front of those guys, I think, athletically. Now the thing is, without fouling, that's gonna be the issue. But I think he has the capability of doing it, and I think it's a great fit for the Nuggets. Like I'm really curious to watch this team in the playoffs and see like. And you mentioned Porter coming off the bench. I didn't think about that. Him coming off the bench. That's a strong bench if he's leading it. And I feel like he's still developing too, coming back
Yeah.
from injury. And I feel like once he gets comfortable again, like man, Michael Porter Jr. he's a stud. He can ball. Shadow Go still grieving the loss of Theis, but Murder Cornyn is a killer, and Wagner's already being involved. We're gonna get to. We haven't gotten to the Celtics yet, so you just wait. We'll get there. So I think we all agree this is, as far as for the Nuggets, this is a great trade, and the Magic, they're doing magic things right now. So yeah. Do you believe in magic? The fans are like, no, we don't. Not right now.
Like we haven't in a while.
All right, we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one here.
Not since Shaq.
That's true.
I'm trying to think of man. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking back when I liked the Magic, back with Penny Hardaway.
Penny was the man.
Man, he was a man. He had some really good commercials too. That guy.
It was Little Penny's fault though that they broke up.
It was. All right, so moving on to the next trade here. This is between the Miami Heat and the Houston Rockets. And we'll have a little bit of Rockets talks here because I got some thoughts. Holy crap. Wow, Lauren dropping 50 subs to the community. Holy cow. Shadow Dragon, if you got gifted a sub, if you were here, tell her thank you. Wow, that is incredible. Maybe
Thank you.
We'll spend some of that money to buy the guys all Spurs jerseys here. Thank you so much, Lauren. Appreciate it.
I'll hang it up back there.
There you go. Hey, as long as it's shown. As long as it's shown, that's all that matters. Oh man, that is too kind, Lauren. Thank you so much. You're awesome. So in this trade, the Miami Heat are getting Victor Oladipo, and the Rockets are getting some ex-Celtics actually. Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley, and then also a 2022 draft pick swap. So, man, I don't know how else to say. The Heat won this trade,
which
by
is
a mile.
Fucking insane.
Okay, take it away.
Okay, so like they got one player. Miami got one guy, and they got the better. They won the trade. in what universe does that happen? I mean, it's 2021. We're past 2020. Crazy, it's just gonna keep going. How does one team get one guy in a trade and win? That blows my mind. I like Victor. I've kind of grown on Victor Oladipo as a player, and
Is that because he was a Thunder player, or?
Well, sure. You know,
let's just be real.
It's well, I mean, obviously it started in OKC, and just I feel like he's developed really well since leaving OKC. I don't feel like it was OKC then on. Let's just stick with that. But I don't understand it. I don't understand how. And maybe it's because it's the Rockets. Is that why? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it. They got two players and not just any draft pick, but a draft pick for next year. They don't have to wait 4 or 5 years for this pick. It's next year, and they lost this trade. Like, I don't know what's going on in Houston, but holy crap! Like, that's
So the Orlando Magic have embraced the rebuild. I don't know what Houston's doing either, Stone. I'm with you. Like, what are you doing? So now let's get your thoughts on this, man.
So Houston has done what Oklahoma City has done, and then they accumulated, I think, 17 draft picks in the next 5 years or something like that too, as well. So if you look at their draft picks, they've accumulated a crap ton of draft picks, even with the trade of Oladipo and James Harden. If you actually go through and kind of look at what they've all traded for, it's been nothing but draft picks. So they're gonna go for the draft. Yeah, Miami definitely won this trade. I mean, this is Miami is my team. Is my team in the East. So I don't know how you guys choose favorite teams. I usually choose one from the West and one from the East because Thunder is always my West team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like mine was easy because I was just, before OKC. You know, it was all about Chicago, and then we get OKC, and it's like, all right, that's my team. So
yeah, I had stopped with the Heat when they picked up LeBron James and all that stuff. But I mean, I went back with the Heat afterwards.
when LeBron left, you're like, all right, I'm a Heat fan again. I'm gonna go get my jerseys.
Yeah, because I mean, I always liked how Pat Riley did his thing, and Pat Riley apparently still has the magic. Because I mean, this trade is insane, and if you were to say not this year but next year, because I mean, if LaMarcus Aldridge, which we'll talk about, went to Miami, I'd have a different conversation. But this is definitely a step in the right direction because Oladipo is one of those guys that he's also kind of like Aaron Gordon, but he has done more. Like, you want to see more from Oladipo, and I bet with him going to Miami in a set system that is ready for him as a defender, as a playmaker, as a scorer, and as a driver. This is nothing but great in the right direction that you'll get for Miami, which is bad news for absolutely bad news for Philadelphia, for Boston, and for Milwaukee. Those guys are on blast right now. Because if you guys don't do anything within the next couple of years, I tell you right now, it's gonna be Miami's division behind the Nets.
Nah, man, I totally agree. So I was just thinking, y'all. Hold on. First, let's get to Shadow. They're doing what Danny Ainge did, and apparently Marcus Smart just got ejected. What's he doing? What is Marcus doing?
Get him.
Oh,
Get him, Marcus.
Yeah,
get him.
Get him. All right.
Play your game, bro. Play your game.
Can we do this? Can we change? Let's change Orlando and Miami's teams. Orlando is now the Orlando Heat because they're a dumpster fire, and we're gonna change Miami to the Magic because, like Knob said, Pat Riley he's still got that magic. He's smooth. He's smooth in the negotiations, and man, what a steal, Victor Oladipo from Houston. Like what Nam was saying, he's gonna fit in perfect there. I feel like that team just got deeper, and I'm super excited to watch them in the playoff. That team is gonna be. They better any team that plays them better watch out because man, they're gonna be really good. As far as the Rockets, like I said, I know they're getting all these picks, but I think they've gotten 9 valuable draft picks since the James Harden trade. And besides like Christian Wood, who's still there, sadly, I feel for you, Christian Wood, because I don't know what the rest of that team is. Good luck. Um, I don't know if that's enough for losing a MVP who arguably could have been MVP for a few seasons. I feel like I know he feels that way. I know Harden feels that way. He should be MVP every. He's saying that this year, and I don't agree with that. But that's just who Harden is, I guess. Um, so also Houston, I didn't know this. They were on a 20 game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I don't know if that's just like all these trades and like losing MVP. Like the guys are just like they don't even want to play. Like I don't know what the coach. I think it's Steven Silas. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if he can even round up these guys to play some games. They have won 2 of their last 4, but I was like they were on a 20 game losing streak. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean,
wow.
when you're on a losing streak like that, and then even just saying it, they won 2 of their last 4. It almost means absolutely nothing when you're coming, when
Yeah.
it's after something like, a 20 game, like 20 L's.
Yeah.
Like that's, just to say,
I went
they're
back and
50% after 4 games. It's just kind of like, pfft,
I was
okay.
like, that can't be right. I went back and count. I was like, lost. I was like, oh my gosh. And I guess I forgot they have John Wall, but I'm not a big fan of John Wall. I definitely think he's overrated. I'll just say that. He's more overrated. I have talked about Chris Paul. He's more overrated than Chris Paul for like 100%. I'm just not a John Wall fan. So
I've never been a John Wall fan either. I think his, I don't want to say ego, but I'm just going to use the word. I think his ego is really what kills him. It's he can play, but man,
well,
like
he could. I don't know about it. I question that now.
I still think it's there. I think it's more about him than anything.
So I agree. I mean, right now I feel bad for Steven Silas, absolutely,
Oh, 100%.
because he
Yeah, he's
doesn't
probably going to
deserve.
lose his
He,
job too.
no, I think he's there for the rebuild. If they let him go, if they honestly let him go, then the owner slash GM of the Houston Rockets is the sole reason why that team has failed.
Well, I think I can say that now.
Yeah, for sure. It
You
would
know what
be
other
the
team
sole
in
reason.
Dallas feels like that? The Cowboys, but it's neither here nor there.
But I mean, like John, like I sit there and I think to myself, like John Wall is a good player, but a little older and has been injury prone, and still
Yep,
is injury prone too as well. Because his knee hasn't been holding up very well.
that's
He
true.
does well when he's there, but like it's weird because when this trade first happened, there was a lot of not this particular trade, but the Westbrook for John Wall trade first happened.
Hmm.
A lot of people said Washington won that trade, and when there was a lot of argument between the two,
Yeah,
John Wall showed flashes, but I mean, ultimately, right now, looking at it, it was definitely Westbrook and Washington winning that trade,
I agree.
and uh, and I feel kind of bad in a way because it's just like you 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 probably had a better chance of a better chance of doing anything if you would have just kept Westbrook, honestly, and just let go of Harden because Harden was the reason why that team is obviously where they were before because that's where Brooklyn's at right now. And and what at least Westbrook could help with the young guys because I think at this point in his career too, he's also one of those guys that wants to be able to have more of uh, a development with everyone else around him. And Harden Harden was the reason why Houston wasn't doing what they needed to do. Ultimately.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
To your point there, like the Westbrook. I always like I've always questioned like how Westbrook is like a locker room guy chemistry wise on a team. And I think I can see Bradley Bill enjoying it more, having him at the point than John Wall. If that makes any sense. I just kind of just watching kind of can see that. I don't know how true that is. Maybe Bradley loved playing with Wall. I don't know. I always there was always rumblings about stuff, but then they would push that aside or wouldn't really talk about it. But I think like as a teammate, I think Bradley really likes Westbrook, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, he can't even have fun. Yeah, after losing 20 games, that I wouldn't be having fun. I was all on that team. Shoot,
Mm.
like trade me, get me out of here.
Probably after like 5 to 10 games, I'm already like, all right, man,
Yeah,
I gotta go.
exactly. It's like
Like, I
we're on
can't.
20. Are we ever gonna win a game again? All right. So we'll move on to another one here since we got Shadow. Shadow, I hope you're ready. This is one of the Celtics trades. So we're gonna be talking Boston Celtics and Orlando Magic. See the trend here. So in this trade, the Boston Celtics are getting Evan Fournier from the Magic, and the Magic are getting Jeff Teague, which I put in the notes here. He will be waived, and he was actually waived today. So Jeff Teague is going to the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about that here later. But the Magic are also getting 2 future second round picks from the Celtics. So let's do it. So Shadow, start. You can already start typing. I know there's a delay. Start typing how you feel about Evan Fournier, and and yeah, we'll get to you. So I'll give my 2 cents here. Evan Fournier, I like him offensively. He's a very good player offensively. I've had him on my fantasy league, like in and out, and he gets me buckets sometimes, sometimes not so much, but he's efficient. He's a near 20, I think 20 points per game, and his efficiency is really good. Um,
How about that defense?
the defense, I've got questions. It's not just the defense; it's also so Evan Fournier. I think he's known for like being a great season player, but not so much in the playoffs. I feel like in the playoffs, I've heard to where like he doesn't play as good as he does in the season for whatever reason. I don't know. Um, so that's just kind of my thoughts on Fournier there. Evan's already getting some good looks. He just got to get comfortable. Yeah, I think he's going to be a really good scorer, and I think he's going to be really good, maybe bench player. I don't know if Marcus is gonna start or not. I don't know how that's gonna work, but I feel like maybe in a second unit he's gonna be able to carry the team, handle the ball, play make, give you some offense. So that's kind of where I see him fitting in with the Celtics. So what about you guys?
So
Oh, go ahead.
how?
No,
Oh, my bad, dude.
no, you're fine.
Um. So Evan Fournier is on his last year of his contract, so he becomes a free agent after this year. So I I I probably need Shadow to answer this question to me because I have absolutely no idea how he truly fits in with Boston. I don't know if they were trying to get rid of Jeff Teague's contract, but Teague just got released and went to Milwaukee, so it can't be that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, I think Fournier is a good player, but I don't know, other than depth, does it really add that much to this team? And where does it? And this is probably this was the biggest trade Boston did, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So Boston, I'll tell you. So they got Evan Fournier. They got Shadows call him Murder Cornet. So they got Luke Cornett, who's a absolute shooter. That dude can shoot.
Okay.
They got Mo
And Mo
Wagner
Wagner.
from the Wizards. Yeah. So the big thing here is, and we'll get to it, is losing Daniel Theis to where I think that's where they lost some
Lost a
defense
player.
down low. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah.
So this feels like it's all just contract moves because contract getting maybe some shooters around or getting more shooters for Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum
Hmm.
and Kimba Walker to pass to. But I mean, Evan Fournier plays the same position as Jalen Brown, so that would have to be in Marcus Smart. So that has to be more of a bench depth thing to me, or at least a 1 year contract and getting rid of contracts to make space. But as far as Evan Fournier like really doing anything, like I feel like they're a step behind in the East now with all the trades that happened after or during the trade deadline. So not sure.
So Shadow's saying, "Oh, okay, the H is silent, so it's Daniel Tice." Okay, I've heard that before, so that's my bad. Sorry, we're not you know, we don't keep our
East.
eye too much on. Also,
Okay.
who is Time Lord? I don't know who Time Lord is. Let us know.
Marcus.
Is that Marcus? They call. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh wait,
Okay,
no. I don't think Marcus is Time Lord. She'll let us know.
okay. Um, so
Which
it
we
sounds
also
like she
wanted,
likes the trade. She likes the trade.
which also to let you guys know out there in the audience world, we also traded one of our players, Nick. We traded Nick for future first round draft picks.
There you go.
Just
So
in time.
happy future endeavors for you, Nick.
We traded him for a 2050 draft pick because that's how much we just wanted him out. Rob Williams. Okay, I didn't know
Okay.
he had a nickname. Okay,
Rob Williams.
so I mean Rob Williams, that's the guy now. That's the big man. So hopefully he plays well for him. I know he has a lot of upside to him, is what I've heard. So yeah. What about any thoughts on the Celtics or, I mean the Magic's just got pretty much draft picks. So yeah, Celtics on this trade, Stone.
No, I'm not familiar with Fournier, but I feel like based on what you're talking about, I get I get the Enes Kanter vibes where it feels like a guy who can ball out on offense, but when it goes the other way, that's sort of where your liability is.
Mhm.
I man, it's hard to have an opinion on something like that because you're sacrificing one for the other. But if he's coming off the bench, I don't feel like it hurts as much because you know if he can get you some buckets, if he can get you points, and then give one of your stars a rest for a little bit, I mean it can't hurt. But it's just one of those. At least for me, it's one of those things where it's like, man, it hurts a lot to put a guy out there who you don't feel like is going to be able to slow the other team down, even though they can score. They can get their points.
Mhm.
It almost just sort of it kind of cancels itself out. It's like, great, you can get these points, but you're also getting scored on. So I don't know. I don't know how that works for Boston. And who knows? Like I said, maybe him coming off the bench will be good. He can get buckets, come back out, give a guy some time to catch their breath, rest a little bit. But I mean, that's just sort of me. Like anytime I hear people talk about they're great on offense, but their defense is kind of like, I
Yeah.
immediately, it's like PTSD. I'm just like, fuck Enes Kanter, because that was sort of the thing in the playoffs. Like Enes could score, he was great, but when it became time to stop the other team, he was a huge. I mean, if he wasn't getting a foul, he was just letting the dude go.
Yeah, he was a liability on
just a
defense for
huge
sure.
liability. So yeah, it's it just that's how I see it every time you get a player like that. But who knows? It may work out in the long run.
Yeah. Now Canner would play down low. Fournier is going to be on the outside,
Yeah.
so it's mainly just he's going to get blown by.
Right.
So if the other guys can kind of collapse or help defense, then it won't be such an issue. Shadow said he's actually playing pretty good defense tonight, though. So maybe a change of scenery will help him.
I mean, who knows? Yeah.
I mean, again, what is this? What does Jerome like to say? This is the honeymoon phase. So we'll see. A few games in. Like
There
I
you
said,
go.
he's known to kind of drop off in the playoffs. So hopefully that changes this year, and he'll help the Celtics on what they need. So Tice was Dangerfield. He got no. I liked Tice. I liked Tice a lot from what I saw from him. That's why when I saw he got traded, I was like, wait, what? I wasn't expecting that. So, um, we'll get to that trade here as well. Um, so yeah, so let's move on. Like I said, the Magic just got some more draft picks on that one, so kudos to them, I guess. So moving on to the next trade, we got the Dallas Mavericks and the New Orleans Pelicans. Um, so this is one I'm kind of curious on Nam's thoughts here because this is one I know. Even like when we were starting the podcast, Nam was like ready to talk about like JJ Redick, Lonzo Ball, because he knew like these are guys that that might get moved. And so on this trade, the Mavericks are getting JJ Redick and they're getting Nicolo Melli. I'm not familiar with this player, so if y'all know, let me know.
Yeah,
The
I'm not familiar with
Pelicans,
them either.
the Pelicans are getting James Johnson and West Owundu, some cash considerations, and a 2021 second round pick. Um, One question. Let me ask you, Nam. Cash
Sure.
considerations. Can you explain this to me? Because I saw this in a lot of trades.
Cash considerations.
Yeah.
I think that would be a matter of just giving them extra money whenever they do like trades or anything like that that they need to cover like salaries and stuff like that.
Okay. So it's like we can't give you another player, but here's some. We'll give you this
Here's
guy and some extra
oh,
money.
we'll give you some money, yeah,
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, but
or we'll take some money when
just
we're
just so so in this trade, the Mavericks they're adding some shooting besides Luca to the team. JJ Redick, veteran and clutch. He's a bucket getter. He can shoot. Um, so they just got more dangers from the perimeter, and I don't really know if that's all that Dallas needs at this point, but it helps. That's a definite upgrade, I think. Um, so what are your thoughts on this one, Nam?
Yeah, so we talked about this earlier in our podcast, our show actually, when we talked about what team were pretenders and not pretenders and whatnot, and I said
Mm-hmm.
that the Mavs were looking to replace somebody, or that were basically to replace Seth Curry
Mm.
because they lost Seth Curry to the 76ers, which 76ers are, you know, number one in the East, right?
I will say I didn't think that was gonna hurt them as much as it has, but man, has it
Yeah.
hurt.
The thing is, though, is JJ Redick has been having a down year this year as far as shooting is concerned. It has caught fire every so often, but has had a down year. And I think they're really I first off, let me say overall trade wise, just in general of all the trades, I think a lot of it is to replace players that they lost. A lot of teams replacing players that they lost, like Denver
Mm.
replacing Jeremy Grant. I think this is the same thing. It's not something that I think a lot of people are going to be like ooh and on about, but I feel that as the Dallas Mavericks probably felt that loss of Seth Curry was a big loss to them. So bringing in JJ Redick to kind of help fill that void, they're hoping that they'll have a little bit more success with that team like they did last year, and opening the floor up for Luca and opening the floor up for the Unicorn and their other players too as well. So I think this is a good move for the Mavs. But is it enough for them to do much? I mean, again, after this trade deadline, that wasn't enough for them to get over that hump where they
Yeah.
compared to the other team moves. So,
Especially out west, like
oh yeah,
that that lineup that starting line, I guess the team, that whole roster going against the Clippers, the Lakers,
oh yeah,
that's they need a little more. But hopefully this I don't know if that's what they're because JJ Redick, he's a little older now. Um so I don't know if that's for this year or I mean they're sitting at 8th right now. So he can definitely help them get into the playoffs, I feel like.
yeah.
But
I mean, if they get out of the play-in, if he helps them get out of the play-in, that would be nice because I
yeah,
don't know if they survive the play-in.
exactly. And that's a little it helps if they make the playoffs because that little extra
Mm.
experience for Luca is gonna be beneficial in the long run.
Okay.
So any thoughts on this one, Stone?
Nah. I don't really follow Dallas too much, so
Even though,
The Mavs guys, the Mavs, not the Cowboys.
there's only one Dallas team I follow, and they don't play basketball. So,
oh man. So I think the Pelicans, they did clear up some cap space getting rid of Reddick as well. So that does help them in the cap as well. James Johnson, he used to play for the Heat, right?
I think
Am
so.
am I right on that? Okay. I'm trying to get a picture in there. And I'm not sure who Wes Windu is, sadly.
I'm sure either.
All right, cool. So we'll move on quickly from that one. So the next one is the Los Angeles Clippers, LA Clippers, and the Atlanta Hawks. This is gonna be a good one. So, because I don't know who sent that text message asking about. Was it you, Stone?
It was Stone.
It was Stone. And I had said my initial thought was no, I did not, but I think I might have a change of opinion. So let's see who they got. The Clippers get I've heard it pronounced both ways. Rajon or Rajon. I'm not sure which one it is. Rondo though. Rondo, all right. Playoff Rondo.
Franklin.
What?
You
Franklin
can't
the
tell me he
Turtle.
don't look like Franklin the Turtle.
He looks like Franklin the Turtle. That's
Come on.
Okay. And then all right, so Rondo's going to the Clippers. The Hawks are getting Lou Williams. They're also getting a 2023 second round pick and a 2027 second round pick as well, and some cash considerations. So, all right, Stone. Let's take this one to you first. What are your thoughts on this trade?
So I was listening to Undisputed and First Take, and they were going on about this trade and what Rondo does for the Clippers. Does him being there improve them as a team, make them better? Are they now the better team in LA? Just those kind of conversations. So that's why I brought it up to you guys, like what you thought Rondo did for the team. After watching him play in LA, I don't know that I can't say that I disagree that it's a bad trade, or it's a good you know what I mean? I think it's a good trade for the Clippers. That's a good pickup. I feel like I don't feel like he hurts them in any way whatsoever, and I feel like he kind of makes them better. I don't know what their struggles were last year, but I don't think Rondo joining the team hurts them in any way. I think that he would be a good piece off the bench. I think don't get me wrong, like he talks a lot, but I do think that he might be one of those guys that might be able to kind of help focus the team a little bit more, because honestly, again, I don't know what happened last year in the playoffs. I don't understand it. I don't think but why though? What was the reason for that? Like what happened? They were the team that everyone figured would be playing, the Lakers in the conference finals, and they let it go. So
you want to tell him why not?
what happened, Stone? He's in Philadelphia right now. That's what happened.
Well, all right. I'm just saying, like, I kind of agree that I think Rondo helps his team a lot more than maybe some people give him credit for. But yeah, that was sort of my whole thing to you guys, especially at that point. I think it was Friday when I said yeah. So
it was Thursday.
Was it Thursday? Okay, so yeah, like I was just kind of like, whoa, like what does that do? So I've got nothing against it. I'm sort of for it. I'm kind of curious to see what happens with the Clippers now.
So you're for it for the Clippers. What about for the Hawks though? Like getting Lou?
I don't even honestly. I mean, I don't know.
You don't have to have thoughts. I'm just asking.
Yeah, like because it's not. And the thing is, it's not even about Lou Williams so much as like those picks outside of the 2023 one, like that's a whiles down the road. So I don't know. Like I didn't watch. Yeah, I didn't watch Rondo play with Atlanta while he was there, so I'm not entirely sure what he brought to that team. But I don't know if Lou Williams is going to be that.
Let's hear. Rondo don't play until the playoffs, anyways. So even if he did play, he's not doing anything in the season.
Hey, look, if if that's what it is, like, show up during the playoffs then. Whatever, man. You know, if you got to push us to the playoffs but not do anything, then let's get to the playoffs. When we get there, you better show up. Don't be like playoff P and just, you know, ball out during the regular season and then vanish during the playoffs, because that that doesn't work.
All right, now what's your thoughts, man?
So, so I get where a lot of people said about the whole Lou Williams and Rajon Rondo trade was a bad trade for the Clippers, because player for player, I think a lot of us would probably take Lou Williams over Rajon Rondo. Player for player,
I think that's where my head initially went.
initially, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think for me too is like player for player, but I understood the trade because you know the Clippers are here to play chess, not checkers. And
Yes.
making this trade was a strategic move because Lou Williams was a spark off the bench as far as scoring is concerned, but that's not what the Clippers need. I mean, look at their team. Like their team is loaded. They got Morris. They got Morris off the bench who's scoring. They got Batum playing the power forward at the moment. They got enough scorers out there. They got what's his name? Oh, I forgot his name already.
Big guy.
Luke Kennard. They got Luke
Oh,
Kennard.
yeah.
He was a shooter too as well. And who else did you say? The big guy, Vucevic, or not Vucevic?
No, I thought you were looking. So the big guys, they got Zubac and Ibaka, Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, they got a bench. I think they got enough scoring off the bench. What they need is a person that's going to be able to run the point. Because and they also got Reggie Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie Jackson also at the point guard. What they don't have is a floor general. And the floor generals that they do have are Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. The problem with Paul George being the floor general is that in the playoffs we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. So they needed somebody that's proven to play off to be in the playoffs. And yeah, exactly.
That's what we have seen.
Yeah. Dame Time took his eye, and he's I think Paul George had like one good game in the playoffs, at least as it feels. For the Thunder, he only had one good game. And Rajon Rondo is somebody that the Lakers, if you had looked in the finals the finals last year, it wasn't the players that you thought that were going to be like the third amigo, who you originally thought was going to be like the third amigo, right?
Mhm.
Because Kyle Kuzma, still developing, isn't the guy that you expect him to be. Like with Anthony Davis out right now, you really don't see much of Kyle Kuzma. Really, last year it was Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Rajon Rondo. And Rajon Rondo has done it for two different teams. He's won championships with two different teams, with the Boston Celtics, which, you know, Shadow, if you're a little sore with Rajon Rondo, feel free to mention that. Or how you feel about Rajon Rondo. But, you know, for a person that has that much experience and who shows up in the playoffs, this is a definite win and a definite upgrade for the Clippers. For the Hawks, this is also a solid pickup too, as well for the Hawks. I mean, for the most part, they get like draft picks. Kawhi Leonard is got a player option at the end of this year, so there's no guarantee that he'll even accept his player option and he'll stay a Clipper after this year.
Man, could you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean,
if he was like, "Nah, guys, I'm out."
He's done it twice.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but did anyone really think he was going to stay in Toronto?
I mean, I would like to go back to back. He was like, nah.
I don't know if I ever actually thought that he would stay in Toronto, even with the
cold
title.
up here. It's cold.
That weather ain't that he clearly wasn't vibing the weather, man. That's
listen. In my point of view is like, if I'm like Jordan, if we just want a championship, give me another chance, go another year, get another one. Like, I would have wanted running back, but
right. But we're talking about Kawhi.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, going to Toronto, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I ever felt like he was staying for years to come. I just kind of felt like he was there, and
I understand that. But Stone, if you win a championship,
look, I understand that's what we would do.
I'm just,
but that's I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, look what he did to your team,
Let's
and
can we
then
not.
moved to Toronto. I don't. When he got there, I was just like, he's not staying.
I know what he did, Stone. Don't bring it up anymore, okay?
I'm just saying, like, I understand what we would do. But when it came to him, I just never felt like, okay, he was going to stay into. That was never a thought that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So when he left, I was just kind of like, makes sense.
All right. Enough of the past. Let's talk about the now and this trade. I'm with Nam, and like I said before, I didn't. Oh wait, Shadow says I'm grieving Tice. No feeling left for Rondo. I mean, totally understood. Totally understood. I'm with like the initial thought, player for player. I like Lou Williams, but for the team, this is a great trade for the Clippers. They're not getting him for the regular season. They need him for the playoffs. And like Nam said, in that playoff run last year, Rondo was the third option, and he can run the point. He's a floor general, like Nam was saying. That's what he does. And I feel like that's kind of where the Clippers have kind of lacked playmaking, because the playmaking has gone through Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and I feel that hurts them. They need someone else to kind of who know, because the thing with Rondo, I feel like he knows basketball. His basketball IQ is up there. Like, there's a reason he's helped win championships. And so I think this is a huge pickup by the Clippers after like thinking about it, and like you said, listening to analysts kind of talk about how he's going to help them, and it's like I do agree that is how he's going to help them. So the thing with the Hawks, they're getting Lou Williams, great player. I think the Hawks needed some help like in the shooting guard position, and I feel like I think Lou can play the two. I think he'll be fine there because Trae Young's running that. So the thing with me, and I'm curious how it's going to work out, is Rondo isn't afraid to tell you how he feels. He's just gonna tell you. He's real. He's gonna tell you to your face. And I feel like I don't know necessarily how Paul George is gonna handle that, because I don't know. I feel like Paul George thinks he's won already. Like, I don't know how I feel like he kind of has a little bit of an ego. But I mean, we'll see it. Hopefully they'll gel. If they gel, they're going to be dangerous. I'll just say that. If they do gel and they all buy into, hey, this is our little floor general, and you're going to run the show, find us and move the ball, I think they're going to be dangerous to compete with the Lakers and anyone else in the West. So, those are my thoughts. Great pickup by the Clippers, I think, and we'll see. We'll see if playoff P will show up this year. We'll see. Hopefully, they don't have to go through through Dame Dollar. All right, so moving on to the next one here. We got the Denver Nuggets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Nuggets in this trade are getting JaVale McGee, and the Cavs are getting Isaiah Hartenstein. Not familiar with this player, and 2 future second-round picks. I think this one is just a really good pickup for the Nuggets, and backup center to Jokic when he needs to get off the floor. Yes, McGee. He's actually going back to Denver. He played with Denver a few years ago, and I think I saw something where that was back in his Shaqtin' a Fool moments where he was on it like every day. So I think this is a good pickup for the Nuggets. JaVale McGee can rebound. He can clean up the boards, and I think that's kind of where this fits in for them. So, what about you guys? Any thoughts on this Cavs Nuggets trade?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great pickup. Looks like the Nuggets won the JaVale McGee sweepstakes, because I think JaVale McGee was rumored for like 10 teams. It seems like. Um, But yeah, like I said, the Nuggets are ranked like really far down there and allowing points 5 feet from the goal. So this is somebody that's going to be able to help them get clog up the middle and kind of protect the rim
Mm-hmm.
and get the rebounds that they need with added with Aaron Gordon too. Is like this team is looking pretty dangerous, and it gives me more reason to believe that the Joker is going to win MVP this year as well.
Stone.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the Nuggets kind of won that one. I've never been a huge fan of JaVale McGee or not, but I've always found him to be kind of scrappy. Like he just goes for it. I think that's kind of what I respect about him, about that aspect of his game. He just like he doesn't care. It's defense, step up, go for the ball.
He's like, I may be Shaq a fool, but I tried.
Yeah.
Right.
Did they score? All right then. Like I like guys that do that. I like guys that will just kind of scrap down there and go for it. You know, if they get a foul, it is what it is. But it's like the guy they're guarding now now knows like, okay, this is, you got this to look forward to, for the duration of the game. So
So are you saying you're a huge fan of the cleaner? Is that what I'm hearing?
oh well, I mean, I like that game. I like it's fun to watch. It's fun to see how the opponent handles something like that. Like, does it get under their skin? Does it start to frustrate them? Does it mess with them a little bit? Like, it's fun to watch that kind of stuff happen on the court. And so I think when you watch, like when I would watch JaVale play, I'm just like, I can kind of dig that.
Okay. What were you gonna say now?
I was gonna say, between the two Shaq and the Fool leaders, who would you choose, Stone, to play for the Thunder? JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee!
Oh boy.
Or Kendrick Perkins?
Oh, JaVale. I already know what Perkins brings to the Thunder, so let's swap out for the other guy.
See, I would have liked to have had a JaVale McGee back in the day, but
Heck yeah.
I had to bring up that question because they're both on Shaq and the Fool like quite often.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. We went through we saw what Perk did for the team though. So we can swap those out. Let's see what that does.
Hey, he did good things for Boston, and then he did all right.
Yeah.
He was a different kind of leader for the Thunder.
Yeah, he was not the same guy. I don't care what anyone says. He was not the same guy.
And now he just gives hot takes.
Boy, does he.
And he can't say Vucevic right.
He can't. Oh man. I struggle too with that one though, so I can't hate too much. Oh, all right. So moving on. Move on to the next one here. This is another 3-trade deal, or 3-team trade deal, however you say that. So this is Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, and the Washington Wizards. So in this one, the Bulls get the beloved Daniel Tice from the Celtics. Sorry, Shadow. And the Bulls also get Javonte Green and Troy Brown Jr. Celtics are getting Luke Cornett and Mo Wagner. So kind of talked about them earlier. I think Shadow's liking what she's seeing from those two guys here. And then the Wizards are getting Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson. So anyone want to take this one away?
Wait, like Jalen and Jacoby, just keep moving on.
Man, I haven't listened to them in a while. I used to listen to them a lot. I gotta listen to them again.
Unless someone wants to hit the brakes, when I'm all like, move on.
Yeah, I don't really have anything as far as this one. I don't get me wrong, I'm a Bulls fan, but I'm just kind of like, I don't. Sure. Congrats, guys.
This is 7 seconds or 7 seconds or less offense. So let's just pass it on.
Yeah, just. All right, nice job.
Oh, so it looks like a lot of that trade was, at least for like the Wizards, is freeing up cap space, is what a lot of that was. Now for the Bulls, they are getting I think the Bulls win this trade. They're getting a great center in Daniel Tice, and then because we'll talk about it here in a trade, but I don't know if we talked about him already.
I was
But
gonna say Price is moving to power forward back to his regular position. I think.
see, that's what I'm curious with is if Tice is going to play power forward or just come off the bench because the Bulls are also getting Nikolai Vucevic, and so who I feel is great offensively. That dude is a bucket getter, and for being that size, like the percentage he shoots from the outside is incredible for a big guy. To where I think Tice is going to really help on that defensive end. So whether that's in the starting lineup, like Nom saying, maybe moving to the power forward for the Bulls, um, he's gonna help in defensively. So I think in this trade, great pickup for the Bulls here. The Celtics, like we said earlier, they're getting Luke Cornett, shooter. That dude's an absolute shooter. And then Mo Wagner, we'll see. I've heard of Mo Wagner. Um, I don't know. I have nothing like good or bad to say against the person. So, but yeah, we'll move on from this one. But just wanted to throw my thoughts on the Tice. I do like that for the Bulls. So.
Oh, Bulls definitely came out pretty good after the trade deadline, though. So
Oh,
I will agree with you 100%. The Bulls made some good moves. For
yes,
their
I totally agree, and we'll talk to them too once we talk about the last trade that they did here. Stone had to deal with me after I found out. Oh, did you really? Oh, so you're not a Bulls fan now? Gotcha.
Yeah, no, she like she messaged me. She texted me as soon as the trade happened. I was like, I just like started sending like little like hug gifts. Like, I pretty sure I sent
It's
the
gonna be okay.
yeah, the
They're
Big
there.
Hero 6 one where he's like hugging him
They're
and like
there.
patting him on the head. They're
Nice.
there. It'll be
Nice.
okay.
All right. Moving on. We'll move on to the next one here. So the Golden State Warriors and the dang it, I wanted to say Charlotte Hornets there. Oh my goodness.
Almost.
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 Okay. Anyways, the Warriors are getting a 2025 second round pick from the Hornets. That is a protected top 55 pick. And then the Hornets are getting a Brad Wanamaker. They're also getting a 2022 second round pick and some cash considerations. I I think I saw the Brad Wanamaker. I didn't mean to type in chat there. I think I saw he's defensive orientated. So I'm not sure if that's something the Hornets need. Maybe they do need something on the defensive end there. But yeah, and if he's a guard, I feel like that's just going to help with LaMelo Ball being out the rest of the season. Like hopefully Brad can help them stay afloat, I guess. What are the Hornets sitting at now? I'm kind of curious. So they're in the 5th spot. All right, Wanamaker, you're gonna need to. This is your time to shine, man. See what you got. See what you got. Y'all got any thoughts on this one?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the Warriors freed up a roster space more or less.
Yep, good point.
So I would be kind of curious to see who they end up signing to fill that roster spot. As far as the Hornets is concerned, I'm not sure where Brad Wanamaker is gonna fit into this,
Mm-hmm.
just because they got enough guards out there. I mean, maybe they do it just to kind of fill in LaMelo Ball's spot, because besides LaMelo Ball, you got LaMelo Ball at point, you got Malik Monk at 2, you got Terry Rozier, and you got and Devontae Graham too as well. So not sure what this is, more or less just trying to get a draft pick for next year and thanks for Warriors to free up a spot. Maybe it's just to help cover for LaMelo for the next couple weeks. So.
Yeah, that's my thought. Shadow saying, so I didn't know he played with the Celtics. So she's saying he's very defensive, solid dude. Want to make a basket. So he's a pretty solid role player. Okay, so role player, that's gonna help, I think. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the minutes part is where, Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, and a healthy LaMelo Ball. Like, I don't know where the minutes are going to fall for him. So
I think I saw something like the minutes. He's probably only going to get like 10 to 15 minutes in that range, like playing time. So, yeah. All right, moving on from that one. We'll talk about the Toronto Raptors and the Sacramento Kings. So the Kings are getting Terrence Davis, and then the Raptors are getting a 2021 second round pick. kind of have some questions on what Toronto's doing as well. But I don't know. I guess that's neither here nor there. Do y'all know much about Terrence Davis?
No.
No, this move is. I think Toronto, more or less, they're trying for their future, and they're probably going to build around Al and Fred VanVleet, um,
Mm-hmm.
because some of their moves. I mean, obviously, I think they've given up on this year. Um,
Okay.
I think they've given up on this year because, but
They're
it's
set,
perplexing. Who knows? Because Kyle Lowry didn't get moved, so I have no clue.
and I feel that's part of it. Like maybe this was one of those things where they thought Kyle Lowry, they were moving him somewhere else, and so they
Try to
were
get more picks.
trying to get, yeah, or something. They were kind of like all scrambling there. Um, it could be, I don't know if Masai, was asking too much, because I thought Lowry was out of there, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people thought he was out of there, and so I don't know if that's just Masai asking for too much, or they just couldn't find the right move for them. I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll move on from that one. Nothing too exciting there. The next one, this one will probably be the same. Utah Jazz and the Toronto Raptors. So the Jazz get Matt Thomas, and Raptors get another pick, 20 or future second round pick. So I think I read up a little bit on Matt Thomas. I think like what people were saying, he has a potential. I don't know if he'll get there, but he has a potential to be a good pick and pop type player. So think like your JJ Redick's, your Joe Harris at the, like, if he can reach that, that's like could be his potential. So that's just a little bit about Matt Thomas. So I'm sure the Jazz can use that. So good for them. Um, y'all want to talk about that, or y'all good?
Well, so with everything that's happened that we know of, like the Jazz really didn't do much of anything. They kind of just stayed put and kind of are banking on their team.
Yeah, that's the only thing they got. I think was this
Yeah,
trade, Matt Thomas. Yeah.
I think so too. And I mean, they couldn't predict what the Denver Nuggets were gonna do. I feel that the Nuggets to me now are a favorite over the Jazz, I would say, in the
Ooh,
West.
that's interesting. Okay.
Because I would have said differently. I would have said the Jazz before the trade deadline, but with all the trades being done,
Mm-hmm.
I would put. I mean, obviously, to beat the man, you got to beat the man. The Lakers on top, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Jazz, and then like Portland. But we'll get there too as well.
I'll tell you what, man. If Utah and Denver plays, man, that's gonna
Hmm.
be a great matchup. Because, like you said, like, who I don't know, that can go either way. I feel like, but
Actually, and I might put Portland over the Jazz too, but we'll get there.
ooh, yeah, yeah. All right, so we'll move on. The next one, I just kind of want to talk about because I am a Spurs fan. San
Yeah.
Antonio Spurs and the Warriors. So the Spurs are getting Marquise Chris some cash considerations, and then the Warriors are getting draft rights to Katie Leland. I don't know anything about Katie. If y'all do, let me know. But this Marquise, I guess the Spurs got something. They were kind of with I think we were trying to get stuff for LaMarcus. It didn't work out. Um, and so, that whole buyout situation with LaMarcus Aldridge, and now we find out he's going to the Nets. But as far as like this trade, I didn't know I didn't know he was injured right now. So that kind of hurts. Um, so he is injured, but I am excited for, if he gets healthy and can play ball, cuz from what I saw with him with the Warriors, I liked him as a player. So hopefully he can help us, um, help the Spurs, but it's going to be a matter of time, just because, or it's going to take some time because he's injured at the moment.
Y-
Um, go for it now.
I was gonna say I absolutely like this trade for San Antonio Spurs. Marquise Chris is still a young player and somebody that will still develop into a good player, I'd
Yep.
imagine, to being a good player. In my mind, though, every time I look at Marquise Chris, I think of Montez Harrell, like that if he could
Oh.
turn in like a Montez Harrell,
Hmm.
that'd be a really good pickup for San Antonio, especially basically losing Aldridge for nothing,
And
which
that's,
is
man, that
sad.
hurts. Yeah.
That is kind of sad, but I mean, we all knew that there was a possibility because once we get to Aldridge, we'll talk about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Um. All right, we're gonna kind of move. I'm gonna still say them, but we'll move quick until we get to like some interesting ones here. Sacramento Kings and Pistons. They're just swapping out two guards. So the Kings are getting DeLon Wright. Pistons are getting Corey Joseph, another expert. Uh, 2021 second round pick and a 2024 second round pick. So um, I think on that one, basically the Kings are freeing up some cap space as well, um, to kind of help pay Rashard Holmes, who's a really good player.
Yeah.
I like Rashard. I like him. So it looks like they're just freeing up some space to pay him because he deserves to be paid. He's a great player. So that's what happened there. Another one, Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings. So in this one, the Heat are getting some of these guys' names, man, from overseas. I just cannot pronounce. This is a really good player, though. I liked him with the Kings. He helped the Kings a lot. So, do you know how to say this name, Nam?
I have no idea how to say his
Okay.
name.
Shadow said, not impressed. Let's move on. Yeah, from the last ones. Namanha. This is so bad. Uh, Jellica? Is that how you say that? Anyways, he was with the Kings. He's a big guy. I really like him. Um, but the Kings let go of him, and the Kings are getting Mo Harkless and Chris Silva. I think this is a other great pickup from Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. Like this guy's he's gonna help a lot, and he's gonna be coming off the bench. I would imagine because they got Bam already there, and but yeah, what do you think about this one, Num?
I do enjoy it. I actually do like this trade. Like I said, the East has gotten a lot more interesting,
Mm-hmm.
needless to say. And I think Miami's going in absolutely the right direction because they got a lot of players and pieces on the bench, and not only on their bench, but also in their starting crew that's going to make them really hard out. I would like to see them make it to the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least. But I think Miami right now probably the team besides the Nets and maybe underneath the 76ers and probably put themselves above Boston Celtics in my opinion with the
Okay,
moves that they made.
okay. Any thoughts on that, Stone, or no?
Nah, I'm not exactly familiar with him, so I'm
Yeah,
probably couldn't give
that's
you a whole lot on him.
all good. We'll spend some time on this next one. The Portland Trailblazers and the Toronto Raptors. Portland getting Norman Powell, and Raptors are getting Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. I forgot he was in the NBA. If I'm going to be real honest with you, he's been kind of quiet lately. Oh, so this trade. Oh well, you know what? Now I'll let you start this because you had some thoughts on the Blazers. So let's hear it.
Yeah, this trade is interesting because I really do like Gary Trent Jr.
Hmm.
And for the 76ers, I think it's a good pickup to help them move or to kind of to continue building on what Fred VanVleet and also Pascal Siakam.
Hmm.
Norman Powell is actually the interesting one because this year he's kind of been balling out, and last year I thought I had him on my fantasy team a couple times, and I thought he was doing really well during last year. So he makes a pretty good option a more consistent option in the third as a third option compared to McCollum and also Dame Lillard. So I think that this is a really good move for them. I'm just kind of curious if they'll have enough time to kind of keep playing and kind of build the chemistry, and wonder if they're going to be that team that gets past it and gets to the finals, right? But I don't know. I I think this move actually puts them in position that you can say that they're probably might be better than the Utah Jazz, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Do you know much about this trade or these players, Stone?
Not particularly, but I know that anybody that can come in and um, give Portland another boost. I mean, that team's already, I feel like is maybe a few pieces away from, I mean, just going all the way. And I don't know. I would like to see that series, Portland and Utah. Now,
Yeah,
I think that would be a fun series to watch.
it will be because Norman Powell, man, I want to say I've picked him up a few times this year in fantasy, or it may have been last year. I can't remember, but um, he's averaging close to 20 points per game this year, and so like Nam said, he's playing very well. He can score, and man, with Dame, CJ, and him, that's gonna be, and then Nurkic coming back. That's gonna be a really fun team, I think, to watch. I think one thing I saw kind of why this happened is like Nam was saying, they're it looks like the Raptors are looking to build around Siakam, Fred Van Fleet, and if that's the case, those guys are gonna need to be paid. And the thing with Powell is, um, he's gonna become an unrestricted free agent, and so the thought was he was most likely gonna decline his player option.
Mhm.
And with Siakam and Fred, like the Raptors just weren't. They weren't gonna pay him the big money to where, and which he deserves. They just
Yeah.
can't. They can't. So they kind of moved on from that. So I think they didn't want to lose him because he's a great player, but he's coming up to where teams are gonna will pay money for him, and he's gonna go that route. So,
Yeah.
and he's going to the Blazers. Like that's a that's a contender right there. So he can still offer a lot to that team. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna have come playoff time.
And I'd say keep an eye on Gary Trent Jr. too going to the Raptors, because he's a sniper and he's a defensive force too as well. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting to watch his development with the Raptors, because I thought initially I thought the Raptors won this trade for getting Gary Trent Jr. So
Mhm.
we'll
Okay.
see where we go from there.
I saw Rodney Hood and I was like, nah, they lost this trade.
Yeah.
I'm giving Rodney Hood a lot of hate. I don't know. It's been a minute since I feel
You
like he's
forgot
like
the guy existed. I mean, that pretty much
I kind of
sums it
did.
up.
Kind of did. All right, moving on. So we're getting to I think this is like the last trade, and we'll talk about some moves that have happened. So the last trade we'll talk about Chicago Bulls and Orlando Magic. This is a big one. The Bulls are getting Nikolai Vucevic, which we talked about earlier, and Al Farouk Amino. Orlando Magic getting Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., two future first round picks. Man, the Bulls look kind of hot right now. I'm liking what they're doing with. They got the Daniel Tice, Nikolai Vucevic. That especially Vucevic really is going to help spread the floor out for Zach Levine. I feel like if Zach Levine, he likes to drive, right? He has a big guy, or even pick and roll. If they're playing pick and roll, you know, Levine comes off, he rolls, and Vucevic is open. Vucevic is most likely going to hit that shot. His efficiency right now is really good. I'm really sad that the Spurs couldn't find a way to get that guy, man. So I think this is a great pickup for the Bulls, and Magic's getting Wendell Carter Jr. Now Wendell Carter Jr. He does have some upside, but he's had some injury. He's been injury prone, and so like saying injury prone for the Magic, I think so they have Mo Bamba who's injured or who is injury prone. Markel Fultz, who Nam brought up earlier, Jonathan Isaac, and now Wendell Carter Jr. They're all like are messing with injuries, but if they can get over all that, that's a good young core to like kind of start building around. I feel like in that sense, Magic are kind of doing okay there, but those guys just got to get healthy, and then we'll see what they can do. But all right, let's go to you first, Stone. Since we haven't heard from you on some of these picks, what do you got to say about this one?
I mean, I gotta agree, man. Like I think that Nikola Vucevic really does help. As far as being a good shooter, someone who can move around a little bit more. Maybe give Levine, some better looks, better opportunity. Because like you said, with that whole pick and roll situation, it's going to be hard to cover both of them. They're not going to make it easy. I actually haven't seen Al-Farouq Aminu in. I haven't seen that name in so long.
Dude. Same.
Like it's been so long. But no, I agree. I'm kind of interested to see how the Bulls finish out the season. Who knows? We'll see how it goes next year, and we'll see what they do. But I kind of like what they're doing. So I'm definitely one of those people that won't, get my hopes up and start making outrageous claims about a team, but kind of hopeful, hopeful.
The Bulls are sitting at number 10 right now, so they're the last team to kind of play in that play-in.
Yeah,
and I think they're going for it, man. They want to win right now. I mean, Zach LaVine's having an incredible season.
Yeah,
so
dude's amazing. I mean,
it's so cool when, like, to me at least, when someone can win a dunk contest and then people are like, oh, well, that's all he's known for. It's really cool when those type of players start actually balling out, like the Aaron Gordons, the Zach LaVines, like the Nate Robinsons, like when those guys get a little bit of spotlight and then show you, like, I can do other stuff than just dunk. It's really cool. All right, now take it away, man.
Yeah, if you are the Chicago Bulls, you should be super excited because you guys made it out here. You guys got rid of somebody that had been, I wouldn't say a problem, but has kind of been unhappy in Chicago with Wendell Carter Jr. And with Wendell Carter Jr., he'll be able to go to Orlando and maybe try to be a centerpiece there and actually go back to a position that he wants to play, which he wants to play power forward, but they always kept him at the center position because that was an area that they felt that he could help overall with. So not only did they get a franchise center, in Vucevic, who will open up space, like we said before, for Zach LaVine. But I mean that 3-man rotation with the bigs. I mean Tice, Vucevic, and also Thaddeus Young is going to be nice for their front court, and then their back court they got Cody White, and they also got Zach LaVine, who I think still has a punchable face.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, but the best thing about this too is it gives Billy Donovan, their coach, a better person and some more talent to play around with too as well. And Stone's heard me say that I really don't like Billy Donovan, which I didn't for the Thunder, for the team that we had, but Billy D makes a lot more sense in Chicago to me, and look what he's done so far. Zach LaVine and helping him get in spots and places to where he is more effective as a player. So Chicago's future does look bright, and I do see them making the playoffs this year because, well, actually, they're gonna work on getting into the play-in because I also kind of see the Wizards kind of making a run too personally.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I do see the Wizards making a run in that group. So yeah, the future is bright for the East. I think it's going to be a lot more interesting to watch in the next few years in the East. And that was what we all grew up in, right? We grew up with the East being probably the dominant group, and not so much the group that was like they barely made it at the skin of their teeth. So I'm happy
Yeah.
to see the East make some plays. So
And that,
kudos to
like, yeah, kudos to them. Kind of like you said, there's been so much movement the last week and days. Um, and the East, yeah, they're making some moves, and I mean, why not? Like, I feel like the East, it's up for grabs. Like
hmm
the Bucks haven't, like we've talked on previous episodes. The Bucks need to show us like we're not putting them to win it. Like now, the Brooklyn Nets have made some trades. That's the team that is going to be at the top, I think, and that you're going to have to match up well against, or that's going to be a tough matchup, basically. Um, but getting back to like making moves, I feel like the Magic they definitely did the most at this trade deadline. Now they're sitting at last right now. Actually, no, the Pistons are. But if they just tank, which with this what all the trades they made, it's going to be hard to win some games. And they come up with the number 1 draft pick next year, like that's kind of crazy. And then like the core I said that they had, like it's gonna be crazy. So we'll see what happens with the Magic there. As far as the Bulls, I really like it. Nam had mentioned possibly making the playoffs. So the last time the Bulls had made the playoffs was back when they had Jimmy Buckets and Derrick Rose. So it's been a little bit of time.
Been a minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. Now the thing on that trade, I will say, it looks like they did lose a lot of cap space signing Vucevic. So this is kind of, and they've given around. I think they gave 2 future first round picks to the Magic. So I think they're betting on Zach LaVine like paying him when it comes time. I think it's like another 2 years or so, but they're kind of betting on this kind of group, like you said, like the rest of this year and next season, like they're going for it, and I like it. I like it. If you're a Bulls fan, like Nam said, you should be super happy about this. So it's exciting to root for the Bulls again. We'll see what they do in the play-in tournaments,
It's
and
not such a bummer anymore.
yeah. Now the Magic.
Well, yeah. Right. I mean, like, today, sure. But I mean, let's see what happens with the draft and stuff and what they decide to do, cuz
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, if they get those first round picks next year, could be interesting to watch.
Now, kind of like what Nam mentioned with the Thunder, like scouting and being smart with the picks, that's where it's going to come in. Like, are they going to get a, player who they thought was going to be good and then they'd be a bust? They're going to get a Kwame Brown. Like,
oh no,
they got to be smart about these picks. So hopefully they use them to their advantage.
Oh,
on the next episode, Nam and Shadow punch Zach LaVine.
wasn't Kwame Brown though, like when he was drafted, like
talking about Kwame Brown.
Yeah. Wasn't he like a really good player though? Like, and I'm not saying like he was a superstar.
There's been a lot of those.
Yeah, but then
Greg Oden. There's been quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah, but how many of them diminished because of a player on their team was just like, you're we'll take Jerome. You're garbage. Like that's anytime someone mentions Kwame Brown, I immediately feel bad. Just like, oh.
Well, I mean, and the current infrastructure that we have in the NBA right now, like busts like Kwame Brown probably won't happen again. Just because
probably not.
No, because I mean, we got the G League now for like high school players. Because Kwame Brown was a high school player getting drafted in and was brought to be into somebody that was going to be like great because he was a high school player. But players take time to develop in now they got the G League for the growth league to develop those players if they don't quite make it like in at a higher level. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine, now the one and done rule needs to go away, and I think they've been talking about that because I think we have this infrastructure now to allow players to develop better
Hmm.
Yeah.
compared to back then where they were just like there was so many high school players that got picked up and so many high school players were bust. They
Yeah.
just were. And other players that were international players, like Michael Olowokandi, players that they needed some time to develop. Like we wouldn't if we didn't have the G League and stuff like that. Christian Wood wouldn't be where he's at. So
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right. Well, let's talk
Christian
about.
Wood and all that stuff. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, let's go because there are some notable um, signings that have happened, and we. This is a longer episode, but like I said, it's jam packed with so many stuff that happened, so much stuff that happened. So I wanted to go over. I'm just gonna say these, and y'all can talk about which ones you want. So we got LaMarcus Aldridge getting signed to the Nets. He's on a 1-year veteran deal. Lakers picked up Andre Drummond. I know we probably got some thoughts on this. Spurs signed Gorgie Dieng. Cool. Thunder signed Moses Brown, which I think we talked about. They
Yeah.
waived Austin Rivers. And then I think we mentioned earlier the Bucks signed Jeff Teague. So I think the biggest one, the two big ones here are got to be LaMarcus and Lakers. The Nets are just stacking players. They're just going for it. They got everyone now. Um, so how LaMarcus will help them? Well, I mean,
Remains to be seen. Yeah. It's
remains
just
to
kind
be
of.
seen. Yeah, I think the Lakers picking up Andre Drummond though. I think this is a really good pickup for them because he's one of those guys like double double. He's scrappy and he's gonna
Mhm.
rebound for you. And he's scrappy and he's kind of like that garbage picker upper. Like miss a shot. I got that. Try again or lay it back in, easy dunk. And I feel like that's gonna be really good pickup for the Lakers. So out of all of that, y'all can talk about whoever you want there. Y'all got the floor.
No, I agree. I'm super interested to see how Drummond works out in LA. With AD and LeBron are currently out right now, but that team, it's that done. I'm just really interested to see how it all plays out. For LeBron and AD, I mean, AD's gonna get rebounds. He's just going to. It's hard to keep that guy from touching the ball, anyway. But to have another guy on your team that you can rely on to pull it down, like that's gonna be super super insane. And I don't know, man. I didn't think that like there would be another player that LA would pick up where I would be like, son of a, you know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? And I'm be honest, I completely didn't. I never once thought Andre Drummond, like it never once crossed my mind. And then I saw the trade because I think Nom texted it to us, and I was like, wait, what? And I was like, well, crap. Like, like what the heck is now? What are we gonna do, right? Like it's like what the heck. So I'm not an LA fan. I'm not, but it's hard not to kind of be a little excited to see what he does in LA, because that's a whole other team. You know what I mean? Like and they're the defending champs. So I mean, more proud to you, man. Let's see what you got.
I don't know about excited for them, but I don't know about that.
I
But
think it's more of like like Nam was saying, if you're a Bulls fan, you would be excited for Chicago and who they got. I think if you're an LA fan, like this is, I'd be excited.
LA,
you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
why wouldn't you be?
LA fans, heck yeah, they are. I don't know. I'm not a LeBron fan or LA, so
Right? Yeah, exactly.
but I mean, shoot, if you are a LA fan, yeah, you have something to root for, go into the finals again. But we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Right.
see some of these. Hopefully, some of these teams with the pickups will make it a little bit more difficult. But
Right.
we'll see. So I know in previous episodes, Nam has mentioned Andre Drummond, and if the Nets get him, that's cap.
It's a
They
wrap.
got this.
It's
So
over.
so the Nets got LaMarcus, not Andre. So let's get through in your head, Nam. What are you feeling here?
So both of these moves are playoff moves, obviously,
Mhm.
because LaMarcus, like to me, I think the Nets knew they weren't getting Andre Drummond, so they had to get somebody. So they picked up LaMarcus Aldridge. That's the only
Mhm.
reason why I could see it happening.
Yeah.
It's, and I think it drives me insane to kind of watch like all the fans sit there and be like, "Oh, they loaded up the Nets loaded up with all these all stars," and I'm just like, "Have you seen LaMarcus Aldridge play the last 2 years? I know John has." um, have you seen? I mean, and Blake Griffin had a great line. Is like for the last 2 years, all you guys have been doing is saying he sucks.
I
You
saw
heard it
that.
here. You heard it here on this podcast where we're just like, if he gives them 10 and 10, that's about what we need. What they need him. The Nets need him because
Yep.
we don't think these guys are at their all star peak level like they used to be. Now they still have stuff in the tank. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but they're a little
Um,
bit past their prime though. They're not.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotcha.
and these are the guys I'm okay with going to teams that are loaded to help them win a championship to get a championship because I think LaMarcus has given his all for Portland and San Antonio, and
Hmm.
wasn't able to get the championship. And Blake Griffin has done wonderful things with the Clippers when he was with the Clippers. Even though we may not have been fans, but at least
Yeah.
he put all his all into it. So for them to go to the Nets works out. LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't make any sense to me in the Nets. The only thing that he makes sense to me here is because once you get to the playoffs, it becomes more of a half court game, and that he's more of a half court player.
Hmm.
Because I don't see him doing the 7 seconds or less offense with Steve Nash, the pace and
Mm-mm.
space game. It makes no sense to me. The reason why I say whenever the Nets picked up Andre Drummond, if they did, it would have been a wrap because he would have been able to grab everything that they missed and gave him that second, third, fourth chance to make those buckets
Yeah.
and able to help him with the defensive side, which they were struggling. So LaMarcus Aldridge moving to the Nets is more of a depth thing, like we talked about before. I don't know if this makes them. They were already championship contenders. I don't know if this puts them in line to win a championship because of LaMarcus or Blake Griffin. To be honest with you, I don't think. I don't. I don't think those two moves in particular makes them makes them a guaranteed championship at all. Andre Drummond to the Lakers is an interesting one. And it's interesting because the Lakers didn't make any moves during the trade deadline and they really did need to. Um, they struggle with the same thing the Clippers struggle with, and that was getting an actual true point guard to be able to be a floor general because they're going to miss Rondo when it gets to the playoffs. Drummond is an upgrade basically to JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee! um, they're replacing JaVale McGee, and Andre Drummond is going to be able to help him replace JaVale McGee, and he's going to be a plus for them there too. The thing I have that that I'm weirded out with that is that I have a hard time seeing Andre Drummond and Anthony Davis play together that well,
Okay.
and because they're both like low, Anthony Davis can move out a little bit more like a KG. But they're both kind of like, post centric. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see how that's
Anthony
going
Davis?
to. Yeah, Anthony Davis would be more, I would say. I mean, he can stretch it, but I would say that he was more. more.
He does like being down low. Yeah, yeah. But he can
Yeah.
stretch. I guess I was saying he can stretch. Like if
He
he.
can stretch, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
Drummond's gonna be down there.
Well, who would you want down there? Because they have Marc Gasol. I'd rather
Yeah.
have Drummond down there at this point.
Oh yeah, no, I don't disagree, but I don't think it covers what they needed the most. Like if you were to ask me if they needed a point guard or a center more, I would have told you they needed a point guard,
A
like
point
a floor
guard.
general point guard. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Schroeder is good. I like Schroeder a lot, but Schroeder is kind of like Lou Williams, someone who's going to be a spark off the bench, or a spark who's going to be able to put points on the board. But he's not that guy that's going to take that responsibility off of LeBron like Rajon Rondo did. So, you know, like Drummond's a nice addition, but I don't think that actually makes the Lakers like a guaranteed championship contender. In fact, I think, of course, like Ric Flair says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. So you got to beat the Lakers to win a championship. That much is true. But
Yeah.
they don't have a guard that's going to be able to, that I feel is going to be able to take them to that spot. And if they depend on LeBron James doing everything, I don't know if he can anymore. I don't know if this would be a good year for him to do that, especially with the worries about Anthony Davis being hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's an insurance for Anthony Davis being hurt. Who knows? But I don't know. I'd like to see how it goes, but I think the West is still open. Austin Rivers being released though, by the Thunder, like we mentioned before. I'd tell you guys to keep an eye on Denver, on the possibility of picking him up, and I think
Okay.
he'd help stretch out the floor there too as well. So I think that'd be a good pickup for them. But I don't know, man. I I I like the fact that Drummond went there. I like the fact that Drummond went to LA, and I'll tell you why. Because it makes me feel like there is more of a competitive, that it was more of a competitive move, right? Because the Lakers weren't guaranteed to win a championship, and the fact that he would go there and help them possibly win a championship is that
Mm-hmm.
he would actually help them win a championship, not actually go and ride their coattails. As like I feel with LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin moving over to New Jersey,
Okay.
or not New Jersey, Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but I mean, if Andre Drummond went to the Nets, I would have felt that with LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, I would have felt like that's unfair. That's absolutely unfair. So I think there's at the very least, Andre Drummond made it's a little bit more competitive, a harder road for the Nets.
Yeah. So you're saying like, as a fan, like you still feel there's gonna be competitive basketball in the playoffs. It's not just gonna be the Lakers are gonna sweep everyone in the West and vice versa, like with the Nets.
Yeah. So I truly don't wish this to happen to any team, but I don't think there's going to be, because we're assuming that everybody's healthy. If everybody's healthy, then the Nets are probably going to win, or the Nets will probably be in there with the Lakers. But I don't see that happening this year. I don't see the teams being 100% healthy when they get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. So I think the West, honestly, I think the West is a lot more wide open than you would think. With the Clippers, with the Nuggets, and with the Jazz, and even now with the Blazers.
No, I'm with you. Those top 6
Yeah.
are all dangerous. So
And in the East, this is like '90s basketball. You have to be like Detroit. You have to be like Chicago. You have to be those teams that has to overcome something. You have to overcome the team that's always put you out in order to win the championship. So whether it's Brooklyn or whatnot, I think Philly's got something to prove, Milwaukee's got something to prove, and Boston's got something to prove. But those guys have to be able to get that monkey off their back to get past the Nets. And I don't know, but the West for sure is the side to watch.
all right. Well, I know we've gone long, so thank you guys so much for staying with us, Stone and Nam. I want to just one last question to you guys, because there have been before the trade deadline, rumors like this player's getting moved, right? And we've kind of been on the radar. I know Alonzo Ball. I know Nam has mentioned him. So we'll just we'll end with this. So these are some that didn't pan out. Some rumors that were going around, and these just didn't happen. So Lauri Markkanen from the Bulls. He's still with the Bulls. Kyle Lowry thought he was going to get shipped off from the Raptors. He's still there. John Collins from the Hawks, still there. Lonzo Ball from the Pelicans. Now with like all these moves, there's like, do any of those names stick out? Like it's like they can still help contend, or like you still feel like they'll get moved here soon or next year, or any thoughts on like on those guys?
Did you say Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry is one.
Yeah,
of them.
If he had gotten moved, then that hurts.
Yeah.
There's no other way around that one. If he had gotten moved, that hurts. And I think Kyle Lowry is one of those guys. He will stay if given the choice. If he's not traded away or anything like that, he'll stay. He's a lifer, and it's hard to find guys like that now. So that would have been. I think that would have been one that hurts. Like if they let that man go.
I mean, if they do let him go, I get what
Homer
you're saying.
Simpson my way right into a bush after that one.
But like, DeMar DeRozan.